Hey guys, how's it going today? It's day 19. We're almost only 10 days away from our 30-day goal. Pretty cool. Subscribe, comment, getting everything out of the way before I actually get into the topic. So subscribe, comment, go check out the Instagram, go check out the TikTok, go check out the Facebook, go check out everything, please. All right, into the topic. What I want to talk about today is something that's really interesting to me, and basically I want to know why you guys hate your families so much. It's the first thing I think about when I see someone my age, someone who's single, who's my age, moving away from home for no good reason. Like, okay, if you're moving to a different area to go to university, I have thoughts on university, but if you're going somewhere else to go to university, something like that, or you have a job, like a job that you need to move away to go to this job, that's one thing. But why are you living in the same town as your parents and not living, or your family, and not living with them? That makes no sense to me. You must just hate your family. I mean, I love living with my family. I think it's fun. I have tons of younger siblings. I got my parents. We can talk. I mean, I see so many friends of mine are like incredibly lonely, and I'm like, yeah, bro, but you've got like a whole family right there that you could go stay with, you could live with. You'd pay less money. You wouldn't be lonely, and you'd actually have fun. But they're like, oh, but I can't do that because then I'm living with my family, and it's this negative thing. I'm 21. I still live with my parents. I've never moved out. I think it's great. I pay rent. I'm not freeloading completely. But why would you do that? Save your money, man. And I think culturally, it's become like this thing that you turn 18, you got to move out. You got to live on your own. You got to have your own place. And it doesn't make sense to me at all. Because in our Western culture, it's like we're very, very much on this idea of self-sufficiency. I'm a self-made man. I'm a self-made woman. I did everything myself, and it's stupid because, first off, it's never true. No one is truly a self-made individual. Impossible. You even even the closest way you could possibly get there, there's still somebody used your product, or you didn't, unless somebody taught you how to print fake money, even if you're someone prints fake money and that's how you make your money. Someone still had to teach you how to do that. So it's like no one's a self-made individual. So that idea first is stupid. I think it doesn't make sense to me. Who wants to be a self-made individual? I want to be able to go, yeah, look at all these people who helped me get to where I am. Look at all these people who were such great influences on my life. Look at all these books that I read that encouraged me. Look at all all of this stuff that I did. First off, God, if you're a Christian, God and Jesus Christ, they help you. You're only alive because of them. You are only alive because of Jesus. God's grace. But for the grace of God, there go I, right? So it's like nobody's self-sufficient anyway, but we got this idea that we got to move out and live on our own because that's some kind of weird freaking flex. I don't understand it at all. Save that money, man. It's like, in my 20s, if I'm not married, there's no reason. There's absolutely zero reason to live on my own. It just costs me more. It will always cost you more to live on your own. You're going to have less time because as a family, you just share the chores, you share the work. You're going to have less time if you're living on your own. It's just a negative in every possible aspect. The only thing I can think of is maybe you can invite people over more often. I invite people over every day. My parents have no problem with that. I invite people over all the time. So it's like, that doesn't even make sense to me. If you have you should have a good relationship with your parents, but if you have a bad relationship with your parents, well, you should work on the relationship. That's even more of a reason to stay at home and try and work on that relationship. And I think other cultures are really, really good at this. I mean, you look at like the East Indian culture. I call them East Indians because I'm from Canada, because we have Indians here, First Nations, Indigenous, whatever you want to call them. Indians here, and they are like the Indians, right? And then the East Indians are the Indians from the East, from India. So my friends from different countries, New Zealanders and stuff, they have no idea why we call them East Indians. So a little explanation for all of my out-of-Canada viewers. Anyway, East Indians, right? The Iraqis, the Pakistanis, all of these people, these immigrants, they live in Canada and America. And whatever you might think about those cultures, I don't agree with a lot of things in those cultures because I prefer my culture over other cultures, right? Just like I prefer my family over other families. And so by degrees, my culture over other cultures, there's some things we should really be learning about from these cultures. And the number one thing I'd say is their family structure. I mean, I was talking to a lady just the other day, a really nice East Indian lady. I don't remember her name. It was actually it was a few months ago. But I was talking to her. She had this beautiful Rolls Royce parked out front of her house. And I just was like amazed because Rolls Royces, they're obviously one of my favorite cars. She had a Ghost. And such a nice lady. I mean, I told her it was my favorite car, one of my favorite cars. And she like opened it up for me, started it up, showed me the headliner. It was awesome lady. Really appreciated her because that made my day, man. Made my week. And I got all these cool pictures of this beautiful Ghost in my phone. Anyway, but that's how they drive these nice cars. They live in these beautiful houses, and you're like, well, how are they doing it? Because I'm like, it's a little confusing because I was born in New Zealand, but my dad is like first generation Canadian. And now I guess my kids will also technically be first generation Canadians, which is really funny. But like my grandpa, he moved to Canada when he was younger as an immigrant from Paraguay. Started a business. I mean, it was easier back then. You could make money a lot faster. Started a business, had a beautiful house, had a nice car by the time he was like 20, in his early 20s. And you kind of see that it's like it's easy to make money in Canada, but then you see these Canadians who've been here for generations, living on the streets or living in these shacks, right? And it's like, how are they not wealthy? If your family comes from here, you should, have some amount of decent wealth built up by this point. It doesn't make. I don't understand why they don't. And then you look at these like immigrants who come in, very new to Canada. In 1 to 2 generations, they're doing incredibly well. They're incredibly wealthy. They're wealthier than most Canadians. And it's like, what are they doing? What's the secret? I'll tell you. I'm about to tell you the secret. The way they structure their family is crazy. Let me tell you a little story about how Indians come to Canada, East Indians. They save up a ton of money in India, as much as they can. They use it all to send one of their kids to a good country like Canada or England or something. They send him there. That kid, the smartest, the most business-minded kid, that kid then comes to a good country where it's easy to make money. He then spends all of his time starting a business and making some money. He buys a house, has a business, buys a house, and then one by one starts funding his family from India to come to Canada to join him. So he's in Canada, he's got his citizenship, one at a time they come over. And slowly, and the house fills up with Indians, and they're all part of one family, all living in one house. Grandparents down to great-grandchildren all live in one house. I've seen this many, many times. And they all start working for the business. They all start working for the family. And they get wealthy, and they build wealth, and they pool it. They're not sharing their wealth around. They're pooling it. So they get all this money. They put it all into the family. They're not splitting it up. They're not buying individual cars. They buy cars as a family. They buy houses as a family, and they slowly expand their empire, basically, their estate. And eventually, they're at a point where they no longer need to all live in the same house. So maybe they buy one house for the grandparents first. And that's the big house. That's the main house for the grandparents. And so they slowly expand. But this is after, like 30 to 40 years of all living together. And the cool thing about that is it's honestly so easy. Instead of relying on one person to make all of the money, you can use an entire workforce of people together. You all have the same goals. You use it all together, and you make this crazy amount of stuff. Anyway. And so they build up this empire, and they're very wealthy, and because it all just goes into the family, and they live very frugally for several years until they can, start spending their money. And that's how they go from zero to ultra wealthy very, very quickly. And it's an incredible structure. I mean, there's lots of things that I'm not necessarily big fans of in that culture, but that thing is like, what a structure. What a way to make money. It's amazing. And so, that's something our family's always talked about. And my dad's always told us is like, look at this, we need to change this Western way of thinking, Western cultural way of thinking about families is stupid. It's just going to, everyone's starting over from scratch, and it doesn't make sense. Why not work off of each other? Why not grow? My dad's now going to have, and my dad's going to be extremely wealthy because he's got a family now who are all working together to build this empire together. And you look at the wealthy people in history. You look at like Cargill Macmillan, I think is the name, Cargill Macmillan. You might not know them. Look them up. Very interesting family. Rothschilds, Waltons, Ascotts, Kardashians. Like you look at all these people, they became ultra wealthy as a family, and it's actually way easier than just doing it on your own. It's undeniably way easier. So it's really cool. And I just think if you're young and you're thinking about moving out because you feel like that's what you need to do, just realize that it's going to cost you way more. You're going to be way lonelier. You're not going to enjoy it, really. At the end of the day, what it comes down to is you're not really going to enjoy it. I don't think anyone enjoys truly living on their own. It's not all it's cracked up to be. Think about it, pray about it, work on your relationship with your parents, and try and work together as a crew to build something great, as a group, because that's what it's really all about. Who wants to be this self-made person? I don't. I think it's way more satisfying to do it as a group, do it as a family, and I think you'll find if you grow something as a family, it actually brings you up closer together. Like starting a business, for instance. Me and my family, that's all we talk about. We talk about businesses, we talk about work, and it's so much fun. Like, I talk about it with my friends. I honestly, it's not really enjoyable. I like it, but whatever, dude. Because we're all trying to do our own thing, and we're sort of competing, and it's almost a competition. Whereas with your family, it's like you're working together to create something as a group, and it's awesome because you're not worried about, oh, he might be wealthier than me first. It's like, no, we're gonna be wealthy together. Yeah, we're all gonna drive separate cars, because we're all going to own a GT3 RS. Every shade of the rainbow, man, is going to be, well, okay, no, not, rainbow's not cool anymore. Black, blue, red, a few different shades of like the cool colors. We're all going to have our own GT3 RS. When we drive through town, people are going to be like, oh, there go the Neufeld guys. There go the Neufelds, man, because look at those cars. All right, anyway. Quit daydreaming. This is definitely gonna happen. But like, can you imagine? Wouldn't that be so epic? Where you drive into town, y'all drive separate cars because you have money to pay for gas. I mean, crazy, eh? And y'all have like these beautiful Porsches or something. That would be so epic. Because then you just drive around and pull up, just like beautiful cars. Yeah. And then like my funeral is going to be absolutely insane because like my grandchildren are going to be pulling up in like these Aston Martins because at that point it's old money, right? So new money, you buy the beautiful Porsche, you buy like an Aston Martin. Well, no, you buy a beautiful Porsche, you buy like a Bugatti maybe. And then like my grandchildren, they're going to be pulling up to my wedding in like an Aston Martin, British Racing Green Aston Martin, maybe a Rolls Royce, Jaguars, Ferraris. It'd be so sick, dude. So sick. Like, just imagine, because I'm going to have tons of kids. Like, 15 kids. Well, okay, maybe not. I don't know if I can have 15. 9 kids, 10 kids maybe. Mostly boys, 2 or 3 girls, because good ratio there. All of them just driving like these beautiful cars to my funeral. That'll be cool. Anyway, wow, that was quite the digression there. But yeah, so basically, work as a family, build together as a family, and you'll be way more successful and it'll happen way faster. So yeah, don't move out, guys. It's a stupid idea.